Hello, Sylvie. Hello, everyone. Oh, little problem. Oh well, we can work like that. That's fine. So we want to speak about what's happening in the world. Yeah, because it's dreadful. It's affecting people a lot. It's lowering everyone's energy field, and that's not a good thing because we're trying to do quite the opposite. All of us here, we're trying to raise the energy of the planet to get over these strives and these wars and these fighting. So when there's such terrible news on your TV, it's dangerous to stay exposed to this because you're not serving the planet by staying stuck on your TV and listening to more and more and more atrocities. It's good to stay informed, yes, stay informed, but you can do that in other ways. You don't have to be absorbing such massive amount of negative energy. When you watch disgusting images of torture, atrocities, you take in that energy. Understand that. You take in that energy. So if it's an image, sound waves, energetic waves coming from your TV, words, all these things are different aspects of the same negative energy. So you're not just taking the information, you're taking much more than information. You're taking energy. So that's the problem with TVs. They give you energy in a way that you don't control at all. So to stay informed, it's good to read newspapers. They're very good, they're well informed, just as much as the other medias, but they're not as invasive. And so they don't influence your own output. So your output has to be positive, otherwise how can you serve the world? So we want to say that because that's important, and not everyone understand that yet, but that's okay. We keep repeating it until they do, because what you do then is just serves the opposite of what you want to serve. So you serve negative energy, and that's what? Serving? No. So we want to say that. And then the rest is up to you. You can do something about it, and that's for you to decide what you want to do, what your joy is, what your motivation, what your passion, what your desire is. And that could mean many things for many people. If you want to join the army, then do. If that's your passion, your joy, it's probably the right thing for you only. And if your joy is to speak about something, then speak about it. If your joy is to write. If your joy is to say, I know what I know and I just know, and that's all I do is just know, I don't do anything about it, then that's a choice, but that's not a very helpful choice, is it? Because being well informed is wonderful, but it's just that. So what do you do about that? It's good to consider how powerless we are sometimes, because we are sometimes, in a way, from a perspective. But from all perspective, no. From all perspective, there is more. Okay. From all perspective, there is a real... I don't understand what all perspective means. From all perspective, meaning all possible perspective are. From all possible perspective, there are a range of perspective that's much higher. Of course, because you can't imagine that on Earth there is the highest possible perspective of all things. There isn't. It's a 3D world, it's very limited in intelligence, in thinking, in ability to perceive, very limited perception, qualities, abilities, physical and non-physical. So you cannot expect to have the highest perspective on all things or anything for that matter, really, to be honest. And so it's good to connect with your guides and find out what the truth is, or your spiritual teacher, if they are truly an enlightened spiritual teacher. Are they? You have to ask yourself that. Are they enlightened? Are they the authority on all things? No, they are not. Who is the ultimate authority? Well, God. And how do you speak to God? Well, you can, in a way, not 100% directly, not quite, but you can speak to God in a way, because by the light that is within you. The light inside of you is your telephone. It's your telephone to call the light, God consciousness, the greater God in you, the greater light that's out there, that's surrounding you. And so by doing that, you serve. Of course you serve. You serve. How can you not serve if you are at a higher dimension, at a higher perspective, at a higher vibration, which means a higher intelligence? Of course it means a higher intelligence. Why would it be anything else, right? So if it's a higher intelligence, is it not going to give you the right perspective, the better perspective to deal with these difficulties, to deal with these horrors? If you think that the higher perspective is unhelpful, then what kind of a reality do you really live in? One where there would be a higher perspective, a higher God, but that consciousness would be lesser than yours. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't. So there's a kind of humility when it comes to spiritual matters, a kind of humility that says, I know that I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And some of the things I don't know may be far greater, far greater than all that I can possibly imagine. And because I know that, this is what makes sense to me. It is obviously the truth, because otherwise God wouldn't be God. Then I can be a little bit humble and say, okay, I don't know everything, and this situation is very overwhelming for me. So what can I do to face that, to face this situation, this truth that is so overwhelming to me? I can look inside for a message. I can look inside for the voice of God, the voice of the light, because the voice of the light is always in us. It's accessible, much easier than most people think. It's just a matter of trying. So to try, it's not difficult. We just explained in the previous videos how to do that, to connect with your higher self. The higher self is not necessarily going to speak to you. It is going to give you an energy signature that will give you a sense of what the light is, what it's about, because that energy contains everything, so it doesn't need to speak. The energy itself explains it all, if you will. So it does speak to you sometimes, though. But the best thing to do is speak to your guides, because that's what they're here. They are here for. They're here to communicate with you. That's their role. So you can try to connect with them. And by connecting, as we explained, to your higher self in the way that we explained, you're able also to talk to your guides. So you can try this technique, the one in the previous videos, and this may help you. So this is what we wanted to say. If you want to have some kind of resolution in all these events that have taken place in the last 5 years, let's say, it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to take in. And you may feel sad, at a loss, downtrodden, upset, and there is a possibility of getting solace here. There's a possibility of getting an answer. There's a possibility of learning how it all makes sense, how it can possibly make sense, because there is a greater picture. And Earth life is only a small portion of what really it means to be alive, to exist. And so we need that perspective to put things in perspective down here, so that we're not overwhelmed. And once we're not overwhelmed, once we're no longer overwhelmed, then we can be of service in a way that really serves these circumstances. And that's important, I think. So it's up to you, of course. We do not impose our point of view, we just offer it. You do with it whatever you do with it, that's fine. But it's good to have this perspective available to us, so that we can make that choice, so that we get out of ignorance of how the world truly works from the spiritual point of view. Voila. So we'll probably talk about it again, but this is a little bit of a message to give out, to share a perspective that is important to us. So that's it for now. Thank you. Bye.